Hey, what's going on, everybody? Happy Friday and good morning. Hope we had a wonderful night. Hopefully, we're all waking up happy and on the right side of the bed. I've got an update for you on the severe weather today, the heat that's ongoing out there, as well as an update on the tropics. So we're going to talk about a lot of the same things we had the past couple of days, but nonetheless, some information has changed. So, definitely some important things to discuss in this video, including some pretty dangerous storms over the next 48 hours or so, much like we just saw the past 48 hours. I talked about this early on in the week. I said we're going to get waves of these pieces of energy moving on through the northern tier of the country, and sure enough, that is exactly what has happened this week and is continuing and will continue through this weekend. So, pretty active little stretch of weather here for some folks, but not for all. A lot of us are going to stay very dry and just very hot for the next week at least. So, that is kind of what we're thinking, and I'll definitely, go ahead and break that down for you in this video. Other than that, don't really think there's much else to say, so I guess we can go ahead and jump right into it. So, taking a look at satellite imagery, the sun is rising over the continental United States. Still, dark out west towards California, but the sun's moving up out that way. So, a couple key features to note. One is this elongated area of low pressure off the southeast coastline. That we talked about yesterday. That is bringing some of those clouds and showers into Georgia and the southern section of South Carolina, as well as sections of Florida, like I talked about yesterday. So the good news with that is it is bringing some relief from the heat. I guess maybe also good news for some of you is it's also bringing rain. So, maybe a bit of a soggy Friday morning commute, but I'm sure a lot of you folks are fine with the trade-off there of rain for less heat. Another big area to worry about is this big piece of energy moving through the Midwest right now. This is going to cause very widespread severe weather today, and we have an enhanced risk up for sections of the Midwest and the Great Lakes region for that, and that will even shift tomorrow into the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic, as well as the Ohio River Valley. So, again, another 1-2 punch like we saw earlier this week, starting in the Midwest, then working through the Northeast. Another scenario very similar to that setting up shop right now. So taking a look at radar right now, again, we do have this area of showers here down into the southeast coastline. So for my folks watching in Georgia and southern South Carolina, you're getting a little soggy this morning, and this will kind of begin to move northward a bit and also expand in nature a bit as we go through the day today. So more people likely being affected by this. As you can tell, this already stretches from kind of the Outer Banks all the way down, or really all the way down to kind of, Panama City, Florida. So pretty wide area of showers here affecting people. The other area to look out for here on radar with the storms that we're seeing is up here into the Midwest. A pretty feisty line of storms moving through Indianapolis right now. But this is just kind of the appetizer to what we are expecting this afternoon. So don't get too distracted by this thinking, okay, that moved on through, we're good for the day. Not quite how this is going to work for a lot of folks. And then, of course, the other big story is just this heat that we have been under for so long now. With very widespread heat index advisories and excessive heat warnings out here really right into the heart of the country and up the I-95 corridor from the Carolina border all the way up through areas near Bangor, Maine, up here. So, again, a lot of people getting in on very uncomfortable and even dangerous heat for some folks. So looking at today's severe weather threat, again, we're upgraded to an enhanced risk. So from Chicago all the way back towards Des Moines and even sections of Nebraska and South Dakota here, that enhanced risk is in place for these storms to become quite strong to severe. But the slight risk expands all the way even from Erie, PA, all the way through central South Dakota. So a big area we're dealing with here of severe weather, and the marginal risk expands all the way from Montana here, all the way back to the Delmarva. So again, a wide range of places that could see the possibility of severe weather today, but really hone in on this slight and enhanced risk for the highest chance of that severe weather. As we go into tomorrow, that threat shifts off to the south and east, so a slight risk once again along the I-95 corridor from Boston all the way down to Baltimore, D.C., and even cuts here into sections of the Virginias from kind of Charleston, West Virginia, down into the Blacksburg, Virginia area, as well as the Danville, Virginia area. So, again, pretty wide slight risk here, so that very well could be upgraded to an enhanced risk by the time we get to tomorrow or even this afternoon's update. So, definitely make sure you're staying tuned for that information. Okay, so taking a look at future radar again, just to kind of move this ahead and to see what we're seeing right now. Again, widespread showers and storms here into southern South Carolina and the Georgia coastline. This model unfortunately is not picking up very well on this cluster of storms in Indiana right now, but we are seeing this cluster of storms here. So unfortunately, this is the latest data we have, and it's just not doing very well. But we'll use what we have. So as we go through this afternoon, again, expect these showers and storms to continue to spread into South Carolina and Georgia. Again, bringing those temperatures down with that cloud cover and precipitation. Now, also, as we get later into this afternoon, expect these storms to begin to fire off into that slight risk and enhanced risk. So this is going into, 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock Central Time, I should say. We'll have some storms firing up in this area. So, again, don't read too much in on this model and exact placement, but just know if you're in that enhanced risk or slight risk, we're going to have strong storms over or nearby you this afternoon. Main threats will be strong damaging winds, hail, as well as a couple of tornadoes cannot be ruled out with this setup. So definitely make sure you're watching out and getting those watches and warnings. And until as we go kind of towards sunset, these storms just become even more widespread from Ohio all the way to Iowa with, again, all those threats in mind. Now, likely this will turn quite linear by the time we get into the overnight hours, so could see a very strong line of storms moving once again through the places that are seeing it this morning, through places like Indianapolis, Springfield, Illinois could see these strong storms up towards Detroit as well. That line of storms will kind of fizzle out as we go into the early morning hours of Saturday, but don't let your guard down, because as we get into Saturday afternoon, expect once again another line of strong to severe storms from New Hampshire all the way down to Virginia is very likely. So again, as we move this into tomorrow afternoon and evening, again, you can see just anywhere from Virginia and the Western Carolinas all the way up to the Northeast will be impacted by this severe weather as these storms fire off. Now, one thing I did mean to mention is in the Southeast, we will have that rain today with those scattered storms, not storms, excuse me. But by the time we get into tomorrow, that should really fizzle out, and we shouldn't have much more of an impact from at least that coastal low. By the time we get into tomorrow, it'll be more of an impact from this piece of energy that moves on through the north that could clip the Southeast. Now, one more thing I do want to mention about today's forecast, also in the Southeast and Mid-Atlantic, although we're not in that slight risk or enhanced risk for the severe weather we're seeing in the Midwest, do expect some storms to fire off the Blue Ridge Mountains and the escarpment this afternoon and work their way off the mountain chain into the foothills and Piedmont of the Virginias and Carolinas, as well as Georgia. Just wanted to mention that as well real quick. So that's Friday, that's Saturday. Going into Saturday night, that line of storms, again, could move into the Carolinas and Tennessee, so folks in that area also, be wary of the forecast going into the future here before those storms fizzle out a bit going into our Sunday afternoon. And Sunday afternoon looks much nicer than Friday and Saturday afternoon. So Sunday will be quite a nice breath of fresh air. So looking at the millibar map, again, this trough we've been talking about is working its way southward. So going into this weekend, here it is. It will kind of, begin to work its way back into the picture. Now, we're kind of getting pieces of energy here to rotate around this trough of low pressure, and that's why we're seeing these rounds of storms that we've seen this week and will continue to see into this weekend. So this is round one storm. You'll kind of watch this little area of blue that moves on through. That's what we're going to see today and tomorrow. And that, as that exits out, we'll get another round kind of going into our Sunday, or really our Monday. We'll see another piece of energy move on through. But the main pattern idea next week is this trough just kind of hangs around a bit. And so with that, we're going to get, pretty big kinking in this ridge here, which is going to cool things down in the Northeast, but also bring a bit of a different storm track. So again, we've seen a storm track like this week. Next week, I think we'll see more of a storm track like this. Now, the storm track will change, but I think another thing that will change is quite, the intensity of these rounds of storms that we've seen. I don't think it's going to be quite as strong next week, and I don't think a lot of us are really going to see all that much rain next week. And I'll show you that here on a map in a second. Taking a look at radar imagery, though, for next week. Again, we looked at what we're expecting through this week. And going through our Monday, though, you'll notice Monday afternoon, relatively dry for most folks. Again, we'll get more pieces of energy to kind of try to work its way down along that ridge line. But overall speaking, relatively dry. And it doesn't look like much moisture makes it past the Appalachian chain next week. Before there are some hints of maybe a stronger system and cold front even that tries to work through maybe late next week, but that's still more than a week out, so I will definitely have time to monitor that. So taking a look at rainfall over the next 7 days, again, east of the Appalachian chain here, it's really looking quite dry after, today and tomorrow's storms. So next week looks quite dry. I think anywhere that does see more rain next week would kind of be into this corridor right here, especially right here along the Appalachian chain where we could see on those western facing slopes some upsloping and a little bit more precipitation there for those folks. But other than that, next week looks relatively dry for a lot of people, at least through early and middle of next week. So taking a look at the tropics, we do have an enhanced risk up again, or an enhanced risk, sorry, I see orange, I just assume enhanced risk, a medium risk of development here for this tropical wave out in the Atlantic. We've been talking about this one. And the good news with this is, again, no matter what happens, likely whatever piece of energy there is will move on out to sea. So that is the good news. Even if this does develop, it is up to a 60% chance of development now, though. So we have a higher chance of it developing than not developing from the National Hurricane Center. Now you'll notice we have two other X's on the map here, and of course X marks the spot during hurricane season. This one right here only has a 10% chance of developing, and it's really about to run into Hispaniola anyway, so of course flooding threat down there for those folks into Hispaniola, but other than that, not really any tropical development. Now the other one is this area off the southeast coastline I've been talking about affecting our weather in the southeast. This one has a, funnily enough, 0% chance of developing, but the National Hurricane Center nonetheless puts it on the map just to let you know, hey, this is there. Should something absolutely insane happen, we're watching it. So again, this is really about to fizzle out over the next couple of days, but as we saw on satellite imagery, it does have kind of, a bit of that tropical look to it. So they definitely went ahead and added that on the map. So with all that said, again, I hope you're having a wonderful Friday morning, and I know the morning video might be a little strange, but I guess the good news is this is one less thing I have to do this afternoon when I get home from work. So that is one nice thing. Not to say I don't enjoy making the videos, but obviously it is a time commitment. So it's nice to go ahead and feel accomplished and do something in the morning. Always fun to have. With that said, though, again, hope you have a great rest of your Friday afternoon. And again, reminder, no video tomorrow because it is Saturday and I work most of tomorrow anyway, so it would have been difficult anyway. With that said, though, again, hope you have a great rest of your Friday, a wonderful Saturday, and I will see you all on Sunday.